Okay, this video is about some tips on how to improve your bass covers, how to do better bass covers, how to put up the best quality work that you can. And this is not just for bass. The same dynamics and applications would apply to drums or especially guitar. Yeah, just about anything. So, first of all, if you're unfamiliar with my channel, it's Sanitys Void, and I do bass covers. I do some gear reviews, and I do rock and roll stories from the 80s and 90s. Yeah, my personal recollections of a musician in those times, bass player in those times. And feel free to subscribe, check out my work. So let's get started. One of the first things that you should do when deciding to cover a song is start by watching every other bass cover on the song that you're covering, and see who's playing what. See people are going to play it wrong, they're going to play it right, and you can kind of form a consensus on what's right. That's one way to get accuracy, and that's not the only step. That's just the first step. That's one of the things that you should do. Number two, consult tabs. I use Songster a lot, but if you have a paid subscription to some of the other tab companies that are better, by all means check them out. It's probably rare to find tabs that are always perfect. On Songster, they're usually about 70% right. If the tabs are close enough, they can point you in the right direction. You can then use your ear, and other tips on here that I will mention to get closer to what you're supposed to be playing, to get it correct. Number three, once you look at the tabs and you're playing it and you figure them out, check them with your ear. Don't just play the tabs, but listen while you play. And usually, if you have any ear for notes, or if you develop your ear at all, you'll hear when it's obviously wrong, and if it's close. And then you can use number 2 and 3 to narrow it down. Number 4, a good thing to do is review live footage where you are unsure or cannot hear. It might be tricky to find what you need, but it's almost always there if you look hard enough. It doesn't always have the angle or the quality that you want. I once figured out a Testament riff by looking at Eric Peterson. He was kind of far away. I just could tell from his finger position, and then I added up, connected the dots and added up the math, and I came up with pretty much what I think is it. I mean, I could be wrong, but a lot of these situations is it can only be one thing if you're doing it right, and if the timing works. And if it flows well, it's probably it. So that's another technique you can use. Number 5, review any isolated bass tracks that you can find. Original artist recordings only. Some others can help. I did a Sweet Child of Mine, and I actually started with isolated bass track who I thought was Duff McKagan, but it wasn't. But I thought it was. And when I discovered that it wasn't, I listened to it, and I listened to the original, and I could tell that it was pretty good. If it wasn't Duff McKagan, it was somebody that knew what they were doing. And so all I had to do was take the riffs that I got from the isolated track, and then chart the song out, and then place them in the right places. All the riffs were mostly right. There was only one that wasn't covered, and they were just out of place, so I just placed them right. And so that's how I got that covered. High quality, what I mean is very accurate. So number 5, learn the song and play along to the ISO track to make sure you have all the little details we call nuances in time with the recording. Make sure you have picking patterns correct. So before I put up a cover, I will usually play along to an ISO track if I have access to the ISO track, and you can tell when something's out of time, or if there's a note wrong. Especially, you can hear it with an ISO track, so that helps. Number 7, contact the original artist and ask for pointers. Make a test video and send it them for feedback. Not everybody's going to reply, but I have had the original artist help me out. Troy Gregory from Prong helped me out with the song. The bass player, one of the bass players from Death, Kelly Conlon, gave me a couple pointers for a song, and he also checked out one of my other Death covers, and he actually told me that I did a pretty good job on it, so that was cool. I had a couple other artists help me out, but I don't recall their... Oh, well, after the fact, I had the bass player for Saxon commented on Power and the Glory, and he said that it was spot on. So that's another way. You know, you don't always get help, but if you don't ask, you know, you won't ever know. The answer can be no, but if you don't ask, the answer is always no if you don't ask. Number 8, watch guitar covers where the bass is the same as the guitar. If you're having issues figuring something out, more guitar lessons are found on YouTube and can be used for of use for bass players. I did that with I had to look up a guitar lesson on Wake Up Dead to figure out the end part, and it was you know, it's the same way you play it. So that's the great thing, that sometimes you can learn stuff from guitar players where no bass player has it out. Number 9. Oh, I skipped one. Let's fix that. This is 9. Number 9. Once you learn the song, play along to it until you know it well. Sometimes knowing the song until you no longer like the song helps too. Sometimes I pretty much hate the song by the time I am ready to upload it. But you know, you're going to get a better video and a better quality play along than if you don't really know the song. And it also, for me, you know, I like to. I'm not going to say that I will end a video because I made one little mistake. I'll go ahead and keep those because, you know, I'm just real like that. But if you have played along to it a lot, then you can cut down the number of takes that you have to do. Number 11, look on the counter of your CD player to see when the song starts or for timing with any breaks. A lot of guys you'll see on YouTube, they are late to start because, you know, they never thought about how to nail it. Now, the CD counter doesn't always give you the perfect spot, but it'll get you a lot closer to that than if you didn't use it at all. So I always use that, and it really helps. If you mess up the song, turn the camera off and just try it again. If you make a mistake, just reshoot the video. A lot of guys they're just too lazy to do it, and that reflects upon their playing. And I understand that maybe they're not trying to be professional, but this video is about putting out good bass covers. So that's my advice there. If you don't care about your work, by all means, slop it out. I don't care either. Anyway, that's what I do for my bass covers, and this is my advice to any bass player out there that wants to either start or improve what they're already doing. Thanks a lot.